Hello out there, great lands of YouTube and other places, Twitch, Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you're watching from. Welcome to the MCU's Bleeding Edge. We are here tonight, Wednesday evening, November 30th, the final day of November, and we're going to be discussing the 6th episode of Andor. Oh, yeah, the 6th episode. Oh, yeah. So the 6th episode is called The Eye, and this one is a really great episode. We were just talking before getting on air and saying how amazing this episode is and how awesome it is. So we're going to have fun talking about it. We're going to enjoy it, and it's just going to be really a lot of fun. So, of course, as always, I have my loyal co-host, Mr. Jeff S. TrueKnowledge, in the house. How we doing, Jeff?
Hey, baby. Loving it. Andor episode 6 was outstanding. Jocelyn Barrett is in the house. What up, Joss? How you doing, my friend? My TBI Survivor friend. Keep on pushing. Jocelyn is actually a content creator herself that makes TBI content that's like supportive and like helpful to other TBI survivors to help, drive them and fuel them to try to get better and whatnot. So hats off to you, Jocelyn. And she's also a hell of a shit talker too. And pretty dirty too when she gets going. But that's another conversation. But no, I'm doing wonderful. It's good to see Jasmine. It's good to see you, Cyber. I'm excited as fuck to review Andor episode 6.
Excellent, thank you. And we have returning with us, and I believe the first Andor episode you are a part of is returning is Jasmine. Welcome, Jasmine. How are we doing?
Hey, I'm doing really good. Oh, it's been a minute.
Oh, good. Awesome. All right, folks. So, like I said, awesome. This episode, like I said, it was really good. I think this is the best episode so far of the series. And I know we are a little behind people out there in getting this out because the finale has already aired, but we're getting there. We're going to get there, but, bear with us. We're still in the mix watching it, and we're having a good time with it. But like I said, this episode's called The Eye. And basically, this episode is all basically about the mission that we've been talking about, for the last 5 episodes, that we're leading up to get to this amazing and awesome, like, kind of deal that they were, basically putting together to be able to, take out some Imperial people to, help get them an upper hand in this war against the Empire. So basically, the episode starts off. We have a great little a little conversation between Andor and one of the other guys that's a part of the crew. And he basically mentions to Andor how he wasn't able to sleep and, that, he feels tired and he's drinking coffee to try to wake up. And Andor's like, oh, don't worry. You'll get some adrenaline going. And once we get into this, and he's like, you're probably right. And they kind of have a little conversation that, basically they kind of disagree on certain things, but at the same time, they're kind of there for the same cause. And so as it moves on, so after, basically after that, we kind of start getting into them getting ready officially to start going into the battle, into this, this job that they are doing. And so being aided by Gorn, the rebels successfully infiltrate the garrison by posing as an escort squad for commandment J-Hold Behaz, Gorn's superior. And we kind of get an introduction to this J-Hold Behaz. It kind of shows him having kind of a conversation with these different people up in the command center. And they basically are discussing about what the events are for the day, that these certain people are going to be coming, and that, to let them to be able to pass through, and that, this is all a part of, kind of this ritual they're doing. And, this will allow success and let them succeed to get to where they want to go, and what to be able to, so that basically they can get off this, rock. And we have kind of that little bit of a, sequence where they talk all up in the command center. Gorn is there as well. And he's like, I've been here 7 years and, basically, I'm ready to, get this done. And basically then it cuts to them outside, and they're pretty much looking at everything, making sure everything's set for what was going to go on tonight. And so basically make sure that this is perfect. The Behaz says to Gorn, and he's like, understand, sir, type of deal. And we kind of get a glimpse of this group of people that is coming for this, this kind of commencement of whatever's going on. Because I feel they never really explained exactly what it was. And so I still, even through after watching the whole entire episode, I'm still like going, I don't get what this whole thing was, but whatever it was literally really cool. So we kind of get a glimpse of these people as they're marching towards, to the compound where these people are. That they're going, and we get kind of an interesting look at all these different types of people, that they're of some sort of particular people that they're interested in for using them basically for whatever they want them to use them for. And basically, almost like slaves. And I think that was kind of interesting how they played that out too, kind of giving you that glimpse of all of them and stuff like that, them walking up the countryside, which was really cool. And we get that kind of that view there and stuff like that before we once again kind of go back to the crew as they're as they start to infiltrate into this this whole job. So before we go past that, let me ask you guys, what did you guys think of that kind of intro, that beginning of the episode? Basically being kind of introduced again to Gorn, being introduced to this Behaz, being introduced to these people that are a part of, whatever this, kind of thing is going on with the Empire. And kind of what were your guys' thoughts on that opening sequence? Was there anything that you found interesting about it and that played into maybe previous episodes? Or was there anything that you thought that might be of interest to, that might later play on in the episodes that have come to see that we haven't seen yet? Let's start with you, Jasmine.
Well, personally, I thought it was interesting how they're kind of humanizing both sides of the battle when it comes to the rebels, and showing them kind of living and associating and just kind of structuring not only their camp, their relationships, but their missions as well, and showing that some people do have nightmares and some people aren't just soldiers that are ready to fight at the click of a switch. It was interesting, especially with watching the Imperial soldiers kind of seeming less like creepy soldiers and more like cute, like normal people that are just got a job to do, and not being, I don't know, like they always seemed kind of like assholes to me when it came to them in any of the Star Wars films. They always just looked like they were there to do their job. They didn't care about anybody else. But seeing that they do have a little bit of downtime, and they do enjoy festivals and rituals, or taking a little downtime at all, it's kind of nice just to see that.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and is there anything else you would like to mention about that sequence there at the beginning?
The rest of the sequence, and it was interesting just seeing kind of the more of like the capital and how different it is now since like the beginning. Like when we saw the prequels, and now seeing them now and how empty the seats are. I was like, the first thing I wanted to do was see if there was any other races there still participating, and it definitely was very vacant. That was the first thing I noticed about that opening sequence.
Very true, very true. All right, Jeffrey, your thoughts, sir. Same question.
Well, I just want to be clear, Joss. I'm just kidding. Jazz is not straight edge. The last time I checked, I don't think she is. But that is not a joint in her mouth. No, we would never have that. Jazz would never portray herself like that. She does not endorse marijuana use, right, Jazz?
You're a dork.
I'm just messing. I'm just kidding. Hey, what's up, Josh? You're funny. But no, yeah. Hey, Jasmine really killed it. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, we talked about this already, Cyber, in the studio. So did me and Jasmine. I mean, again, I'm not. I want to put it out there, folks. I am not a Star Wars expert. I'm not. I know that there's plenty of people out there. In fact, I know a lot of people personally in content creation that know a lot more about the Star Wars lore and universe than I do. They've watched all the animated stuff and everything and whatnot. I never have. I don't know about anything about the Clone Wars or anything like that. Whatnot. I don't know anything about it. But I did watch Rogue One, right? I know what that's about. I really enjoyed it. So going into the series, I was just very optimistic and positive. I was like, okay, if this is like Rogue One, it should be pretty good. I did not expect it to be as good as it is. I'll be honest with you. I'm honestly very shocked at how fucking awesome it is. I did not prepare or expect it to be this solid. I mean, this is like compared to Boba Fett, this is like the Hall of Fame shit here. This is the Star Trek Hall of Fame. Or the Star Wars Hall of Fame. I'm just kidding. It's me and Renee, Loki's mom, were talking about Boba Fett earlier today. How it killed her for Andor. But either way, as far as the episode 6 goes in the beginning, the Eye is a great title. It really is. I love it. Great title to the episode. Very, very apropos. You know what I mean? Like, and I love how they reference the Eye in certain situations very casually throughout the episode multiple times, and they dropped the title, right? I love that part. That's really, really good script writing, story writing right there and whatnot, you know, like really good writing to slip that in like that and whatnot and actually mix the title into the show like that. You don't see that happen very often, to tell you the truth. It doesn't really happen. And the way to do it casually like that, I loved it. And then seeing the Eye, I don't want to go ahead, but just seeing it was great. But no, that conversation with Emmerich, and Cassian, and watching Cassian's role with the rebels change and adjust. Like, you know, in episode 5, I thought they were going to do the heist and do the mission or whatever right there. I didn't expect it to end up being like more of a suppositional episode at all, but it was still good. And it was great. It built up tension. There was character development with the rebels and whatnot. We finally figured out what they were kind of about. That, you know, they weren't just whatever. And you saw Cassian's role in the group change, right? Not Cassian change necessarily, but just as things were going on, it became clear that Cassian knew more about this shit than they did, a lot of them, right? He did. And he ended up being a vital part of the mission. Huge. So, you know, it's just really interesting to me that they're keeping us on our toes, right? They're not throwing tropes at us that are so basic and limited that like it's boring or it's storied. It's overdone. This is all different to me with Star Wars. This whole deal, you know, they're not being fake with Cassian. They're handling it like in a weird woke way. They're not making him into a hero like based off these like, you know, profound lines from other characters and whatnot. He's just kind of like going through his shit. And he's going to find his way to the rebellion somehow. We don't know how yet. I mean, look how shit went down in the episode. But either way, that discussion in the beginning, unfortunately, it did from jump. I knew that character was going to get killed or like seriously injured or something was going to happen to him. There's no way not to happen. But it didn't hurt me though. It didn't ruin the episode. It didn't ruin the suspense. I just knew it was going to happen. And that conversation was profound. It really was. I loved seeing the dynamic to kind of bounce off Jasmine. I'm loving the dynamic of the rebels talking to Cassian and his different attitudes towards the Empire versus theirs, right? But no, Jasmine nailed it. The reality that they're actually dishumanizing the Empire for once. I've never seen this before in Star Wars. It's just to me, it's literally was a extremely great move. For everybody that did Andor, like it was a great decision to go in that direction. Wonderfully done.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, this is, like I said, I think the best episode so far of the series of this season. And it's just a really solid, and that whole intro there was really fun because it really gave you a lot of information, but it kept it entertaining, kept you, wanting more. It also just kept it really fresh and kept you, basically yearning for more, I felt. And I think that it was a good kind of setup to lead us into this great battle that we've been waiting for the last 5 episodes. So yeah, most definitely agree. All right. So basically we have all the kind of that whole situation building up. We get to get to learn about these people. We get kind of a little info on them. We have Behaz him with his family. We get introduced to his family, his son, his wife, and basically them kind of getting prepared for this feast of whatever they're doing. This whatever it's called. Like I said, I don't recall them mentioning what it's actually called, but they have this, gathering that they're going to be doing tonight, and that, they needed all to run off properly and all that kind of good stuff. So we get that kind of information there, and as the story goes on through the episode. So by this point, after we get introduced to that, the people, basically that's when Andor and the rest of the crew come into play. They're all dressed up in Empire uniforms. They're marching towards the battlefield. That's when this group of people show up. We have Gorn out there with them too, and so is Behaz. And, basically they all kind of come to an intersection there and, are introduced. Gorn talks to the head person of this group in whatever language that they're talking. And, it's basically, allows them to pass. And that's when in between this, we see kind of like some more information you learn as they're walking towards this to the encampment. Andor and the gentleman, which I forget his name too. Let's see here. Let's see if I can see it.
You can skip any name. Who cares? Just name. Just fucking. just call him Jack.
Skeen. Him and Skeen kind of talk briefly as they're walking down, and because Cassian says, "Oh, he likes to order everybody around." That the other guy there, and basically Skeen tells him that he used to be a stormtrooper, which I thought was really kind of a cool little thing there, because we haven't seen anybody else be considered a stormtrooper until we got into the new set of trilogy that we just had, where Finn is a former stormtrooper. So it was kind of interesting that there have been other stormtroopers that have defected and have gone to the rebel side, and I thought that was really cool. So you learn that fact about that other guy. And so, like I said, they get all into that encampment area where the Empire's base is. And as they're like talking and stuff like that, and basically says, "Oh, you can move on." And they start to march towards the area that they're going. And the, basically the troops are falling, and Gordon gives them orders of where to go and stuff like that. And so they follow their orders and stuff like that. And then as that's going on, we briefly jump to Val and the other gal that's a part of the group, and them kind of hiding out in that bunker, getting ready to put a blocker up so that they don't get any communications there at this space. And so we kind of get a little interesting thing going on there. And as the other people are waiting to move on to do their thing, that's when we kind of get that kind of little kind of montage of Val and kind of her dealing with things that are going on there, trying to get ready to do it. And the other gal's kind of trying to like, Val, are you going to do this? Blah, 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 and stuff like that, which is kind of interesting. So I thought that was really fun. And they basically, finally Val's like, "Okay, we're go ahead." And they jump over the side of that bridge or whatever they were at after they had put up the UFI blocker. And we see them kind of catapult down, which was really cool. And then it goes back to the guys, and they're still marching and doing their thing and getting ready to do what they need to do. And that's when basically after the other people get to their point where they are and start to do their ceremony of whatever sorts, that's when basically we get to another pivotal point in the episode. So before we move on past that, I want to get your guys' thoughts on that little section of the episode. What did you think about the stormtrooper identity there with the other guy that was a part of the group? Did you find that interesting? Did you see that coming? Did you think that was really cool? What were your thoughts on, basically kind of, that whole situation, how they, basically came together and kind of the whole Val situation and with her partner and stuff like that? And just overall, what did you think of that little sequence leading up to what's about to happen next? Starting with you, Jeff.
Well, basically, I think that, like I was saying to you in the private chat, essentially, the connection. I think that these connections that these small connections that they're dropping to connect to the original Star Wars films and to the original themes of Star Wars, right, are very subtle. They're not overly done. They're not like they're not going. They're not like shining like a huge spotlight on them to try to make it clear that they're doing them. They're subtly doing them, and I like that. I find that very again, it's very well done. The structuring, you know what I'm saying, the sequencing, the story, the way that it's designed, the structure of it, the timing of things, you know what I mean, like when dialogue occurs, right, when they focus on certain conversations between characters and whatnot in certain situations. I think it's all being handled in like a really tight, well done way that really adds to the overall vibe of each episode, right? Like in this episode, we have the suspense aspect of the scenes we're talking about right now, where we have the part where we've got Belle being put on the spot, like, hey, go or no, right? She was the shot caller at the end of the day. And I like her. I do. I like her character. I like all the rebels. The more that we got to meet them a little bit, I liked all of them. The gentleman that you were talking about that was a stormtrooper, his name is, let's see if I can find him real quick. I think it's very important, not just that the connection, but basically the fact that the girl who you were talking about that was with Belle, that is basically I believe that's, let's see, you got Skeen, and then you've got Karis Nemec, which is the guy that talked to Cassian in the beginning of the episode. You've got Terem Barcona, that's the chick with Cal, that Skeel told Cassian was like basically the biggest badass of everybody. And then you've got Cinta Kaz, and that's just another one of the rebels, basically. But essentially, I thought that was it Gorn? It wasn't Gorn himself. It was one of the rebels that said that he used to be a stormtrooper, right, Cyber?
Yes, it wasn't Gorn.
Yes. Okay, so I believe that must have been Cinta Kaz. Now, what I really appreciated with him was how well he performed in the mission right from jump, how he bam, he just turned it on. He sounded Imperial immediately. Straight dialogue was right on line. He tightened everything up and whatnot, how focused he was. And I feel like that lends to I feel like that lends to him being a stormtrooper and having been a part of the Empire, right? Not just the fact that he knows how to handle this mission and do the sabotage part and do the pretending to be the Empire soldiers, but also the fact that he has had that military training. That's that real serious military training that I'm assuming you probably get. If you get to the stormtrooper level with the Empire, where you do go to boot camp and shit like that, right? Or of some kind. He's got that military training. He does. And I was impressed by that. It surprised me. I didn't realize that he was that capable, I guess. But he was great. He really had a real forceful presence right off the bat, with the mission. You really, with him and his tone, you knew shit was getting serious. You didn't know where things were going to go, but you knew shit was going to get serious. And hey, man, hats off. This stuff is being done so well at such an adult level. This is not kid game Star Wars. this is adult fare. Like, just because it's not R-rated doesn't mean shit. This stuff is for adults. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, only adults are going to find this entertaining, I would think. You could tell me if I'm wrong, Jazz or Cyber. I mean, I'm just saying, to me, I don't see why a little kid would find this fun to watch, personally. But in general, I thought that the tension that starts to build right there was basically, for me, it was the highest tension I felt throughout the whole episode. Was right in those scenes before they when Cal says go, right at that point, that kind of released the tension for me, and then I was excited and just wanted to see what the hell was going to happen.
Very true. Very true. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like I said with that guy, that was really interesting. I thought it was, really well executed. It was fun. Like I said, we haven't really seen anything like that besides, with Finn in the new trilogy. And I thought that was just a really cool little homage to that. I thought that was really cool. But anyways, Jasmine, your thoughts, please.
I actually believe with Jack on that one because they are doing a really good job, and the way that they are connecting it to the original series is so fluid and so effortless. It's nice to see them really getting back in their wheelhouse, because for so long, with the Book of Boba Fett, it felt so displaced, like the pacing and where they were going until they got there, and even at the end, it didn't pay off as well as they were probably going for it. But with this, it seems like they're doing it so effortlessly, and definitely with each character, you're getting little hints here and there that they are, whether they are good or bad. And I definitely was very skeptical about when the episode started, just a little bit, that where it was going, because I was like, okay, after the last episode, what are they going to do? And it really paid off when it got to this part, because it was just how he was able to go from being a rebel to just effortlessly just talking his way to the Imperials and directing them to what to do and getting them to believe him and go where they're going, and how they were able to get inside and basically take it over quite well. Actually, it was greatly planned out, and a lot of the Star Wars films have a tendency to have that go bad early. Like, they do something wrong really early that flags it, and then they hell on hell water, things start going south. But for the beginning, it was definitely going really well. They were able to use the ritual down below to really hide what they were doing, like a smoke screen, which was really good. That's pretty much what I noticed. Jack got the rest of it pretty well. Jeff was definitely said his piece, and I agree with him. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say.
Excellent. Thank you. Awesome. All right. So, Tamarind is who? Jeff? I think you're muted, Jeff.
Tamarind is the rebel that used to be the stormtrooper.
Okay. Gotcha. So Tamarind, yeah, that was cool. I like Tamarind. That was a cool character. I like that whole idea there that he was a former stormtrooper. That's really cool. Thank you, Jasmine. Excellent. Very well done, folks. Really great information there, and I think that is a testament to how great this episode has been so far, up to this point, and just how much greatness is to this, and just how fun it is. All right, so Jeff, you have an article about this episode. Would you like to talk about it for a second, sir?
Yes, as soon as I can unmute myself, I will, brother. I got to start working on that. I'm not as fast at it as you and Jazz are. You guys are better at it than I am. I'm not a pro when it comes to the unmuting and muting deal. But yeah, I just thought this was very interesting, and I thought the audience themselves out there, and I thought that you, Jasmine, and Cyber would enjoy this. This basically is from Decider.com, which I don't really know much about them, to be honest with you. I won't lie, I've never really heard of them before. But basically, I just wanted to hear this opening statement from this author, who is Sean T. Collins. Thank you very much, Sean T. Collins. Okay, Andor is miraculous. I don't know how else to put it, and I promise I'm not trying to overstate the case here. Trying to make some claim that it stands with, I don't know, Deadwood, love Deadwood, or The Young Pope, or Too Old to Die Young, or other stuff made outside of franchise context. What I mean is that within its franchise, within the framework of Star Wars, and more specifically, how Star Wars stories are traditionally told, right? As we've been talking about, Andor feels like an impossible thing made real. I'm sitting there watching it and almost not believing my eyes and ears. Taking this episode, The Eye, for example, it's mostly a heist movie, and a very good one at that, courtesy of expert filmmaking by director Susanna White and a killer script by Dan Gilroy. Hats off to Dan Gilroy and to Susanna White. Is rooted in the minutia of the rebel group's raid on the Imperial compound and theft of some 80 million credits. They have to pay the employees of the entire Imperial sector. So basically, bottom line, he gets into Nemec and like the whole thing with Cassian, but I really wanted you guys to hear that opening paragraph and what he said, because I thought it really connected with our whole dialogue in the studio before the show and what we're fleshing out right now. That's all.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you, sir. That's a great little article there. I would agree that was an interesting little take, and how, definitely this, I feel from get-go that this series has been hugely, almost like a mini movie every week, and just so well done. So I 100% agree with that. And I definitely think that was very, very accurate in his little article there. So great. Thank you for sharing that. Really well done. All right. So moving on. So by this point is when they basically infiltrate into into that command center, and that's where they take Behaz's family hostage, and they start to basically take over the Empire's little area there. And so that's when we really start to get into the action of this episode, which was really well done. And so as that's happening, they're basically going through. Behaz says, I don't have access to that. And, basically they say, oh, well, we know exactly how it works and that we just need your handprint. So either we can take all of you, or we can take just your hand. What would it be, basically kind of, threatening him and stuff like that. And they kind of have like a thing where he like suggests that, oh, you're just going to kill us anyways. And like, oh, that's what you really think, don't you? You think that we do the exact same thing as you would, but we're not like that. No, you will all be let go as soon as we get what we want. And so basically it shows them going through this command place to get to the areas that they need to get to the vault where they're looking for the credits that they're looking for. As that's happening, we go to the command tower, basically where the signal has been lost, and the one Empire guy trying to get it to work, and basically was outside and talks to another trooper down the way. And it's like, have you guys lost command? They're like, yeah, it's weird. I don't know why this is happening. And so then it goes back to the command center where they all are again. And it shows, basically Cassian taking Behaz up, into this other room, and he starts, telling the people, get down and get out of the way and put your hands up and stuff like that. And we see them kind of take all these guys and put them all down in a row. And basically one of the other guys with the rebels, tells them, you're going to do what we say, or you're going to, something's bad's going to happen to you. And so they basically get to the gate that they need to get to, and Behaz puts his hand down to open it up. They get in there, and you see all these kind of interesting, like really long tube things that look metallic and gold, and it doesn't look like money. It looks more like some kind of like robotic thing or something like that, or just these weird like tube things. And So they go in there and they're like, he's like, you're not going to get those open and stuff. I only have access to open this gate and blah, blah, blah. And we see one of the other guys say he puts bombs things onto the different things and it blows them up to open them up. And so then that's when they call in all the people that they have gathered together to go in there and start loading them up onto the spaceship. We see Andor get into one of the spaceships there and start getting it all started and up. In between this, we keep going back to that group of people that we were shown earlier, and they're like doing their ceremony thing. We're seeing the sky and it's lighting up, and we see all these crazy colors and things going on up in the sky, and it keeps going back, and they keep checking the time for how long they have and stuff like that. And as that's going on, it keeps going back and forth between those two things, and basically gets to a point where basically this giant battle starts to come out of it. As they're getting the stuff onto the ship, they're having the people pull them on stuff. All of a sudden, that other guard we saw earlier pops up, and basically like Gordon's like says to be hacked, you need to get rid of him. We don't need him here. He's in the wrong place. I gave you an order and stuff like that. And basically they're yelling at the guy, and the guy seems suspicious, and he keeps like going further and further in to get into to see what's going on, and keeps saying what's going on and stuff like that. And basically that's when this like giant firefight starts to happen, and they start blasting. They're blasted all over the place and stuff like that. And we have this huge giant battle going on in here. And as they're shooting and stuff like that, unfortunately, during this battle, different things start to happen. We see some TIE fighters and stuff like that going on, and we see like these other people, and they're all shooting and fighting each other, trying to get the rest of those credits onto the ship. And they're all like, we got to get out of here and stuff like that. And while in the battle, that's when unfortunately Gorn and Turman get killed, unfortunately, in the firefight. And as they're doing that, that's unfortunately when Cinta is not able to get onto the ship. So only Cassian, Skeen, Bell, and Nemec escape from, get into that ship, unfortunately. And so as they're trying to get out of there, they all grab into there and they start to fly off. That's when, once again, we see them going back and forth again between them and those other people. And we see them, they start to have like a firefight while in the sky. These TIE fighters start to follow them. And let me tell you, the TIE fighter look here was so cool. It was so cool seeing them kind of lower from the ceiling, and they look so pristine. And it looks like they put a lot of effort into the CGI for these things. We saw the actual like pilots in there getting ready to take off, and we see them basically there's a fight while they're out in space and stuff like that. And like I said, it keeps going back and forth until basically all the TIE fighters have been destroyed and they have gotten away. So before we move on past that, lots to go over here in the section. Lots of crazy stuff happens. What were you guys' thoughts on that whole battle sequence? Was there anything that really stuck out to you? Was there anything that you thought was really of value? And, just overall, what'd you think? And was there anything that maybe you think that will play on in the future episodes as well? Starting with you, Jasmine.
Well, I definitely was very happy to see kind of like the village people, the tribe, kind of celebrating their ritual and just seeing something different in the Star Wars universe, because we don't stay on planet long with some of these shows and some of these movies where we get to see their lifestyles and like what they celebrate and stuff. It was really nice just to see a little bit of that through all the chaos. And seeing them take hostage the family and as leverage was actually quite smart. But it was funny how he immediately assumed, because he's an Imperial, that they were going to just kill them anyway. Just shows how they really are kind of detached from the world outside the Empire. Because they're so used to people wanting to kill them or them killing their hostages, because, Vader is very much no hostages, end them all type of lifestyle. So it was just funny just seeing how he immediately thought that. She was like, what, you think we're you? No, if you give us what we want, we'll leave. That was I liked seeing that because I initially thought she was kind of an ass when, first being introduced to her. And I liked how they did this, which they didn't really do with the Obi-Wan series with the black character. I forgot her name. But they didn't really show us levels of a character in that particular show. It was very quick paced. Next episode. But it was nice to see that she's not just a soldier and she's not just going, take what she wants and kill people if she needs to. It's nice just to see that. But yeah, them getting going inside and getting what they wanted, and the soldiers starting to notice that they couldn't get to the capital. They really should have really thought about that, had somebody that at least knew codes to kind of keep them off their ass, because they weren't. I noticed that was like the first thing I flagged when they took it over. They just tied everyone else up and didn't keep the person that works the controls at the controls in case that happened.
Mm-hmm.
They really should have done that so they wouldn't have had to rush the way they did. That was one of the big keys that I noticed. And it seems to be something that they do a lot with the rebels. You have a tendency to like tie up the person that works the controls and then or shoot them if you're Han Solo. And they really need to learn to work on that. That's something the rebels really need to get on, but apparently they don't, because I've seen what happens after this. But that's pretty much what I wanted to say.
Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, thank you, Jeff, that the local people on this planet, which the planet is called Aldehani, are Aldehanians. Thank you for that info. Yeah, Aldehanians. And that's really interesting. I totally, I should have thought that they were from that planet. Dumb me. But yeah, that's cool. Thank you for that. Just to reiterate to people out there that the people that we were seeing in that sequence, those sequences there doing the ritual, are the Aldians. So I think that's really cool. Awesome. Jeff, your thoughts, sir, on those sequences?
Well, first off, Cinta coming right in there from jump in that standoff. We didn't cover that. We didn't talk about that. That standoff where the one Imperial officer does pull out a gun on Cassian or somebody, I forget who it was, and says, "Let the boy go." What's his name? The lieutenant or whatever his name was, Jalroy or whatever, his son, let the boy go. And for a minute there, you think that there's going to be a shootout right there. And then, bam, out of nowhere, Cinta's badass drops down like a ladder with Kel and just straight blasted dude right in the head, I think, doesn't she?
Yes, yeah, she does. And that her name's Val, not Kel.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Val. My bad. I apologize. And I also noticed that there was, I thought this was really well done. This may be later on, but I want to point this out before I forget. There was a really touching scene between Cinta and Val at one point where, like, I'm not sure if they're romantically intertwined or if they're just really good friends and spend a lot of time together, like, on this planet waiting for the mission or whatever. But it didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't have to be. You didn't need to know that. It didn't have to be highlighted or explained. It was just a good moment. You know what I mean? Like, they could tell that they cared about each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, it mattered, that it mattered to Val, Cinta was important to her. I love the fact that it didn't have to be flushed out what her dynamic was, right? Like, who cares? They're human beings. It was a human moment that I connected with and appreciated, right? I don't need it to have something added to it or whatever to make it more important to me, So I really like that. That's very well done. Again, very well done. Hats off to everybody involved. Dan Gilroy, the director, I forget her name, but I apologize, but I'll find it here in just a minute. But Susanna White, I apologize. Great job by Susanna White. Great directing. You got to give the hats off to these people who made Andor, because I mean, let's be honest here. I think honestly, if anything, like, this is one of those things where I'll tell you right now, Cyber, if I keep taking Cyber's advice on like what shows we should cover and whatnot, based off Andor, I'm figuring that Willow is going to be like Oscar award nominating type shit here when we cover that, man. Like it's gonna be some all-star type shit, right? What do you think, Jazz? You get where I'm going?
Yes, I get where you're going.
Yes, obviously Cyber knows the shit. Like he's getting the dirt from the streets and whatnot, so he knows what's up. Until we get there to episode 1 and Willow's good for 5 minutes and turns into a goddamn shit show. And then I'll be like, and then I'm gonna do one of Cyber's and I'm gonna be like, you're gonna see me like this. No, I'm just playing. But anyways, no, yeah, you like that? It's funny, right? I'm gonna do it too. I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna say anything. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go like this. I'm gonna cover my face with my hat. I'm gonna take off my Willow t-shirt and just go shirtless like that young kid that came on the show the other day. Which you missed, Jasmine. You would like that. I'm telling you, he was cute. But anyways, no, you're right, Cyber. The TIE fighters were great. They looked great. Basically, what I really liked and appreciated was how well they performed the heist. They were very efficient about it, right? Like, and I don't know if you guys tell me. I felt like there was a very interesting dichotomy where there was almost like this split among the Imperial forces, where there was that African American character who was basically, I guess, like the head guy, right? At the station itself was called the Eye, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So he was the head guy. In episode 5, we saw a lot of him interacting with the soldiers and whatnot, which I loved all of that. Again, the humanistic aspects of that, those relationships, the ball busting between the Imperial troops, right? A guy taking a piss, right? At one point, somebody making a sexual joke, like in one scene, like Imperial forces don't usually do that shit in Star Wars. They don't do that kind of stuff. They don't crack jokes or bust balls or take pisses. They don't even piss. We don't even know if they piss or shit. We have no idea. No clue, really. So either way, now we know though, which is good to know. So either way, no, I love that humanistic aspect, and I felt like there was a fracturing as the episode was going on. I felt like and you guys tell me if you got this too. I felt like that character, the head guy at the Eye, he didn't like the higher up Imperial forces that showed up to basically shut this place down, right? Because they're going to walk away from this planet essentially, and then starve it to death, right? And he didn't like that. I didn't think he didn't appreciate those people. And you see later on during the heist that he actually, on his own, and I think he's doing it to aid the rebels. I do. He stops that one young officer from trying to pull a gun and like start shit with the rebels. It tries to like sell it, but it's just a part of like the examination or whatever the hell they were calling it, the inspection or whatever, right? Now, don't get me wrong, maybe he was just trying to de-escalate the situation and wanted to save lives. I have no idea. But I almost felt like, in a way, like he was rooting for the rebels. I did. And that's interesting, right? If that's the case, I have no idea. But I thought that it was very, very well played out that they were so efficient in doing this heist the way they did it. Cassian was great, right? He's a pro. We saw that he handles his business. He knew exactly what he was doing. You got to remember, he didn't train with these people for 2 years or whatever like they did on the planet and whatnot for this mission. He showed up a week before it, less than a week, and just jumped right in and shit. And here he is getting after it. So obviously now we know for sure that Cassian's been around. He ain't no joke. Like, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to handle a gun. He's not afraid of a firefight. He can do espionage. He can fly shit. So what we bared out in the beginning, Cyber, that he's a very multi-purpose kind of guy, can do pretty much, kind of anything, is really flushing out that he can. He's very resourceful. Obviously, Luthen knew what the hell he was doing in picking him, right? Even though at the end of episode 5, he's dubious and he's afraid and he's nervous because of Cassian. That's what his concern is. So, and of course, we won't get into how things end up wrapping up, or where Cassian ends up at the end. But bottom line, hey, again, well done action scene, really well done, good timing of it, right? Perfect timing in the episode for them to do it when they did. Built up the suspense first, then go into like the laser fighting and stuff and whatnot, and it looked good. It was shot well, right? It wasn't cheesy. It was good. It looked organic. It looked natural. And it was violent. There was death, and people were dying and shit. This is not Star Wars that I know of. In Star Wars, usually all good guys don't die. Like that doesn't happen. The Imperial people die, or like Rebel forces die, but they die in like during like space battles in like ships and shit. You don't see them die or get shot. There was death. There was violence. So I'm not saying that this is like R-rated material, but again, this is very adult themed type content, and I love this direction. I really do. If this is the direction that Star Wars is going to go in at all with some of their stuff, I'm loving it. This could bring me into the Star Wars fold and make me want to get into like Star Wars more. This show itself, along with Boba getting me my Bacta tank and everything, and the Tuscans too. All that, of course, is very important to me. But no, I loved the fact that we're just going right to the end of the battle, right, Cyber?
Correct.
Okay, so basically, we lose Dorn right then, don't we?
Yep, Gorn and Cameron.
And Cameron go down. So right off the bat, we got two major players dead, right, from jump. And at that point, I figured, oh shit, well, I already knew that this kid, Elmbeck or Mellick, whatever, he's going to get screwed up at some point, anyways, because of the opening scene. I was like, he's going to end up dead or maimed or something, or maybe end up with permanent erectile dysfunction, something. You know what I mean? But either way, bottom line, it was all well done. What else can I say? That I could talk about this episode for 3 hours. There's so many technical aspects to it, whatnot, that I thought were impressive. I want to watch it again right now. I do. I'm going to watch it again tonight. I am. I swear to God, because it was that good. And I want to watch it again. I think there were things I missed probably that I'd like to see. But you're right, Cyber. It was interesting seeing the currency. I thought it looked like gold. That's the only way I could try to like make sense of it. Was it kind of reminded me of gold, like if you had gold bullion, but like in a different form. That's what it looked like to me. But I'm not really sure what it really was. I don't know what that shit was. Was that like precious metals? Is that what that was? Was that gold?
Well, no, it's supposed to be credits. It's supposed to be their currency, their credits.
Okay, I see. So those are their credits. Okay.
Correct.
Right. Yeah, and how much was it that they said? Do you remember how much was the total?
80
million.
Yep.
Wow, that's a lot of money, man. Dude, I imagine that probably is going to help the Rebels out quite a bit, right?
Yep.
Seriously. Now they won't have to eat roots anymore, I guess. We'll have to see. But no, it was great. Great timing. I mean, hey, I'm telling you, maybe Marvel should consider possibly bringing Tony Gilroy and Susanna White over to the MCU real quick and give them a Disney Plus series.
There you go. Most definitely. What did you think about the flying sequence when they're flying out of there to get out of there and the TIE fighters are following them? What were your thoughts on that? I
enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the visual of actually seeing what was that visual we saw from the eye with that image in space or whatever. What was that? What was that like event? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's what I have no idea what that event was called, but that was the event that the Aldeans were there for.
Yes. Jazz, did you understand what the hell that was about? Jazz. Jazz.
I'm here. Sorry.
Jazz, did you know what the hell that was about during the episode when we saw the flying aspect with Cassian like flying and whatnot, and we saw that like in space we saw that event with all the colors and all that shit?
Yes.
Did you know what the hell that was?
I believe it would look like a meteor shower.
Okay.
That's what it looked like. It looked like a meteor shower, but on a different planet, so it appeared different. That's my That's my opinion. Because
Well, I'll look it up.
different, so their atmosphere, and it, especially when you actually see the ships go through it, you actually see them get hit by flaming balls.
Yes, I'm looking at the image right now, and it does look kind of like a meteor shower in a way. You're right. But either way, I'll look it up and figure out what the hell exactly that whole thing was about. But that I really enjoyed. That image, Cyber, I thought was great. Basically, as far as the what I took out of basically like the actual aspect of the episode where we go into the actual flying and whatnot, or the space part, was I just like seeing again how professional Cassian is, like how capable he is, right? That he can do all these things, that he has all these abilities, right? Like he's good enough. He can, he knows how to fly anything that he wants to fly, right? I mean, he's good in he can handle with a blaster and go in one-on-one in like a gunfight. And at the same time, he can do like ship to ship battle type shit if he has to. Like, I'm not saying that he can handle like jumping into like a big war, a battle or something in space, but he obviously knows how to handle his business. So for me, that didn't do as much for me as some of the more like human stuff, the dialogue type stuff, and the dichotomies we flushed out and everything and whatnot in this series. But it was still well done. Again, it looked visually great. You couldn't ask for better TIE fighters. You couldn't ask for better looking ships from a Star Wars standpoint than what we got.
Very much so. Very much so. That is 100% true. So thank you. Jazz, same question for you.
Can you repeat it? Because he was kind of long-winded, so I completely forgot what the question was. It was thorough. It was long-winded but thorough.
So the question was, what were your thoughts on the battle sequence? And them taking Behaz's family captured. Your thoughts on the battle sequence, thoughts on them getting away, and the flying chasing sequence with the TIE fighters. What were your thoughts on that whole section of the episode?
I honestly thought it was splendid. I thought it was a unique way of making a battle, because once they took the family hostage and the one guy that was ordering them just take the gun off the kid's head got shot in the head. Kind of ironic. The irony of it all. It was interesting because each battle kind of felt like it was one-upping the other. Kind of like you were going from like one spectacle to another. And it all came to a beautiful climax with the meteor shower battle. Because not only did you get the TIE fighters, I think that's what they are. What are the the stormtrooper ships called? Did I call it right?
Yeah, TIE fighters. Yeah.
TIE fighters? Okay.
Yep.
With the TIE fighters actually doing a full-on fire battle with the rebels, it was kind of nice because they had like a pizza box or a sub like sandwich box as a freaking getaway vehicle, and they were able to get the hell out of there with minimal damage while they were getting fucked up. They ended up doing more damage to each other than they were doing to the other ship. They were giving me very much Stormtrooper because they were horrible at aiming. It's like, how do you miss? It's a box. And it was in the same spot the whole battle until it went up. And what I thought was really good is mostly watching Keen. I think that's his name. Through the episode, how he was kind of looked like Swiper No Swiping from Dora the Explorer, just kind of sneaking around and avoiding battle throughout it. Like, he's like, cover me. He's like, sure, blam. Stuck and then sat himself flat against the wall again. Like, I'm just gonna wait. Are they dead? They're good? Okay, I'll get on the ship now. It's interesting because like you never really got to see anyone actually avoid fighting when it came to Star Wars. It was everyone was a soldier already primed and ready to go. No one was actually being stealthy. Not even the Jedi are that stealthy. You always have some clumsy person like a white girl with big boobs tripping over a twig in the woods and setting off their arms. So like that's basically what I got. And he was able to do it so well that no one thought anything about him. And I've noticed that through all the episodes when you start to get introduced to Keen, he had a stealth approach to himself. Like the way that he communicated with everybody, he would lie about his history. And I thought that was great. I thought they did a really good job with that, especially with the laser battle going on and watching all these people die, and he's just flat against the wall, just like, I'll wait here. With all this death going on. And they did a really good job. And definitely watching the I forgot the name of the village people down below.
Audience?
The audience? Watching
Yep.
them watch the sky look beautiful from below as they're actually fighting up there. I was surprised they didn't see in those laser beams. I was expecting one of them to like come down and get one of the people, because that's kind of how Star Wars goes. You always hear that one typical yell that they use in like every action film. I was expecting that, but surprisingly didn't do that. And with the young kids that was unable to sleep, having him in the battle, it gave it some extra underlying tension amongst the battle, because you were worried about him and whether or not he was going to get shot. Was he going to die? And it gave you both character tension and the tension of the battle. I like that. I thought that was a very smart thing for them to do. And that's all I had to say.
Awesome. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, that's very, very insightful. Thank you. I would totally agree there, because there is a lot to it that, I'm sure a lot of people probably didn't take away from when they first were, watching it. And then after, hearing you explain that, it's kind of like, holy crap. Yeah, that is true. That is very true. So thank you for that. Really great. Really wonderful. Wonderful. All right. So after they have gotten away, Cassian, Skeen, Val, and Nemec, during their escape and flying out there and trying to get away from the TIE fighters, unfortunately, Nemec gets crushed by one of the unsecured loads of stolen credits, basically causing a spinal cord injury. So basically, Skeen says, we can go to a doctor and try to help him. And they're like, okay. And Cassian asks, where did he go? So we end up going to this planet where they basically, then we go see this really cool looking alien guy with 4 arms, which was really badass, which I had 4 arms, and doing his thing on, on the guy, on Nemec, to try to save him. And unfortunately, while he's doing the operation stuff and Val's there looking over him, basically he succumbs to his injuries. He doesn't make it. And so after that, after we see that happen, we goes back to Cassian and Skeen, and they're outside and they're talking. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Skeen's like, we could split the 80 million credits and go our own way and leave Val here and be on our merry way, and basically starts saying they could go to this planet and stuff like that and lay low and all this kind of stuff. And Cassian's kind of like, what are you talking about? I thought you were with the rebels. He's like, I am, but it's very tempting and this and that. And basically Cassian doesn't like what Skeen is saying, so he kills Skeen. And basically Cassian is now fearing for his life, decides to basically have a conversation Val saying that, he just wants what's owed to him and he's going to leave and he wants nothing else to do with it. He's completed his task and stuff like that. And Val's kind of like, oh, you're actually behind something else, blah, blah, kind of accusing him. And then he's like, no, I'm just want my stuff. And basically he hands over the necklace that, what's his name had handed to him. Stellan Skarsgård. And says basically, here, take this, give this back to I forget what his name is. What was his name, Jeff? Stellan Skarsgård's character?
Luthen,
that's right. Thank you. Basically to give back the necklace that he gave him back to Luthen. And as he does that, that's when Val basically says, here's Nemik's manifesto, and according with his dying wishes, he wanted you to have it, and basically saying, oh, you must take it, basically Val's telling him, and he's like, okay. And that's basically where we leave off with them, and then we go back to Coruscant, where the ISB agents are gathered to formulate basically reprisals to the heist, basically talking about what they got to do basically to figure out who did this heist, how to find them, and basically to get back their credits. Then while this is happening, Luthen hears the news of the theft, and he basically, excuses himself to the other room and quietly celebrates. And that's how the episode ends. So, thank you, Jeff. Yes. Addressing the Coruscant Senate or whatever. Yes, very much so. Yeah, the Coruscant. Yeah, that was the very end there. So, what do you guys think of how this episode ends? What did you think about the whole section there with them trying to save Nemik's life? What did you think about the conversation between Skeen and Cassian? Did you foresee him Cassian killing Skeen? Did you foresee anything like that happening? And what did you think about the conversation between him and Val, them kind of exchanging the things they exchanged? And what did you think about the whole Coruscant section, basically wrapping up the episode with Stellan Skarsgård's character Luthen celebrating? Starting with you, Jeff.
Well, I think that for one thing, I want to point out that for 1 second there, at Luthen's shop or whatever, I honestly thought that was Mom Martha's husband at first. For 1 second, asking him about if he had anything from Aldania or whatever and whatnot. For 1 second, that's why I thought that was, and I thought that he was getting caught, like that he was about to get called out, and they knew, like that he was a part of it. I swear to God, for 1 second, that's what I thought that was. I thought that was Mom Martha's husband, and he was there, like, and knew that Luthen was a part of the heist. That's what I thought was happening. It like blew me away for a minute, and then I realized that wasn't what was. I realized that wasn't what was going on. But it got me for a minute, man. I was like, shit, really? Like, damn. Because I got this vibe from episode 4 or 5 where like Mom Martha's husband. I'm telling you, he's not stupid. Like, there's something going on with that dude. We just don't know yet. I think he's a double agent or something like that. I think the Imperial put him with her to watch her and watch the rebellion. They know who she is, and they're using her. She's not using them, right? That's what I think. I'm just put it out there. And that's my opinion. But basically, I thought that, you know what? Again, very anti-Star Wars, right? Look, by the end of the mission, once Skeen gets killed, the only people that survive and end up on the ship are Cassian and Bell. Right? That's it. So, like, holy shit, man. Like, the whole group's either dead or like they got left to the friggin' planet. And, that's not very Star Wars-ish. It's not what you expect, really, right? Like, to have that. I mean, you knew that we all knew that when they did the mission that somebody was going to die. There was no way they were going to go through this whole thing and not have one person get hurt or killed or something. It had to happen, right? Or else how would it even be like genuine or authentic at all? But to have like the entire freaking like squad get wiped out, like it's like that and shit. That surprised the hell out of me. But I thought it was great. Well done. here they gave us this rebel group. They let us get to know them a little bit and whatnot over the course of a couple episodes. Now they're all dead. They're gone. You know, like who the hell even knows? We might not even see Val or whatever again for the rest of the season. We don't even know. We might not even, probably won't, to be honest with you. I think after this episode, everything is going to shift into a different direction. I think that you know, obviously Cassie's going to be going somewhere different, and all that. You know, basically, when Cassian just says he wants his cut, right, and he just wants to leave after he kills Skeel or whatever, Scheme. Does he have a way to just take off? Like, is he stuck in the ship with Val and they have to, like, does he have a way to just go? I couldn't tell.
Well, that's why he said to the doctor guy, "I'll buy that. I'll buy that ship from you."
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, of course, because he's a mercenary, right? Like he had no plans of actually. Maybe he would have stuck with them, but not after what happened with Skeen. That shit really screwed him up. He didn't expect that at all. I didn't expect it at all either. But Cassian really didn't expect that shit. Not after the big showing that like Skeen did during episode 5, where he grabbed the jewel off put the knife to his throat and everything and whatnot, you know, and like questioned him and everything and all this shit. That surprised the hell out of me. But it was great storytelling, great story writing, like, you know, great structure that they ended up having him of all people, Skeen, be the one to approach Cassian and be like, hey, like, you know, he was the one that honestly, the one who was the most out there after Cassian and suspicious of him, right? Yeah, at the end of the day, it turned out the only reason he was suspicious of him was because he was testing him to see whether or not he would be somebody that he could team up with to fucking steal the money. That's awesome, man. I love it. That is great storytelling. It really is. It's very thick. It's cyber. That's my opinion. I don't know. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? That's how I think. That's why I think he did that shit. Obviously, he wasn't down with the cause scheme, like, you know, or Wilds what he still wanted to steal the money.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, yeah. No. So, anyways, hey, I didn't know. I thought you were giving me one of your fucking quizzical, you know, type looks at me for a minute there. You never know with cyber.
Oh no. I was not making a face at you. No.
Okay. Anyways, well, thank you then. I appreciate that. I feel more less insecure now. So, anyways, no. But bottom line, great end of the episode. You know, sort of sad, I guess. Like in a way, like sort of. It was kind of sort of not like it wasn't like, you know, make you cry emotional, but it was kind of bitter. It was kind of depressing. Like, hey, they won. They got the payroll, right? But everybody's dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I mean, seriously. And Cassian's gone on his own. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so they really left us in an interesting spot, right? I mean, and I can't wait to see what Jazz has to say about it in terms of being in the audience. They're really putting us in a weird spot right now in terms of what to expect in episode 7, man. Like, I don't know what the hell's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like at all. And that's great. I love it because, hey, I don't know about you guys, but I don't remember watching much Star Wars shit lately where there's actual suspense at all. So this is some new shit for me. You know?
Yep. Yeah. Hey, I mean,
besides the Tuscans, this is the best shit ever.
So, I mean, for the most part, you know, Star Wars is supposed to be a sci-fi dramatic opera, space opera, basically. That's what it is. So this is really focusing on that kind of space drama, and they're just more focused on it. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people are attaching themselves to it, because of how much more of a space opera it has become again versus, you know, what they did with the sequel series. Because I feel a lot of people, after they did the prequels, which the prequels stayed pretty much space opera-y, especially with Hayden Christensen's performance as Anakin, with Natalie Portman's character of Amidala and how her relationship with Anakin was and stuff like that. It was very much space opera-y still. But with these new sequels, you know, between, you know, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and, you know, the Rise of the Skywalkers, you know, it basically, those were all very much more of a sci-fi one story side. They weren't really a space opera as a lot of people feel that they were. And, you know, I always said I the ones I hate the most is Force Awakens. I can't stand that film because it literally was a ripoff of A New Hope. And so I was very sad that they did that with that. So, but anyways, yeah, that's what they did.
Oh, anyway, Cyber, no, I was just going to say to you and Jazz real quick. I just wanted to ask you a question. Basically what I wanted to ask you was, do you like the fact that that we're finally seeing people competing with Marvel? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this, like, you know what I mean? Like, look, like, you know, Gunn got hired over there by by Warner Brothers Discovery, right? He made a great film in Suicide Squad, you know, that I think was better than freaking Thor 4 or Wakanda Forever, personally. You know, and then that's in my own opinion, that's all. But then you've got this series, Andor, right? I'm sorry, but I think this Andor series, from what I've seen so far, this is better than any Disney Plus series I saw from Marvel this year, right now. So I love this. I like the competition. It's about time that somebody started competing with Marvel, even if it is within Disney, right? I don't care. It's competition. So, and I just was wondering, what do you think about that, Jazz? Is it nice to see?
Honestly, I think we should worry less about competing against Marvel and instead worrying about putting out good pieces of art, putting out good movies and TV shows.
Let me rephrase that. I'm thinking about it from a standpoint of the overall film industry and Marvel kind of dominating it. That's my point.
I know what you mean, but I don't see it as competing. Star Wars has always been good. Other than the Force Awakens franchise, the last two, they kind of have their hit and misses compared to Force Awakens. But honestly, the franchise is pretty good. Star Wars is pretty good. It's always had its own foot to stand on. Outside of the one lady that was controlling it for a while. Star Wars has always been its own franchise, and I believe that majority of franchises stand on their own pretty well as long as they put out good pieces of work. And DC, I like DC, but they've always been more of a standalone film universe than they've ever been a connectivity universe franchise. Like each film, if you separate them from being connected to each other outside of, certain films that actually connect together, they're pretty good. They're pretty solid standalone films. That's my opinion.
Okay, that's fair. Cyber, what do you think? You know where I'm going with this.
Honestly, there's always going to be competition no matter who it is, what it's going for, what there is, because that's just a part of the industry. Each person's always trying to one up the other because that's just what happens. And, unfortunately, that's just a name of the game. And, I don't think that, Star Wars is making a run for the money for Marvel because Marvel is too big of a, conglomerate to begin with anyways, because they've had over 10 years plus success. Whereas Star Wars, unfortunately, didn't do too well with these last sequel films. And especially the last two that, they bombed financially. They also, a lot of people hated them, which I love the last two. I thought those two were the best. Definitely the second one, Last Jedi, my favorite of the three new films. And I think that, that Star Wars has put out a lot of great content recently. They have always put out great content. And I think that it's more of because it's the same company now, Marvel and Disney Disney owns both Marvel and Star Wars. There's really no competition there. They just are trying to kind of even themselves out along the way. And, if they make a lot of money with this one, they make a lot of money with that one. If they make a lot of money with this one, they make money with that. And that's just how it plays out. And, I don't think that either one will make a run for money. It all comes down to really good writing. And this series just happens to have really good writers. And that's what they need to do overall for all of their brands, to make them all very successful.
Hey, you know what? I wanted to ask you one more thing too. I didn't get a chance to ask you guys your opinions on episode 5 at all. You want to wrap up Cyber and just kind of since I reviewed it already and I talked about it. Did you guys have any thoughts about episode 5 at all? You want to start, Cyber?
Yeah, I'll start. Episode 5 was kind of boring to me. I didn't really care too much for it. Uh, I thought this was definitely a way better episode. There was just too much. I felt exposition in the last episode. Too much talking. Not enough action. Not enough really good storytelling. And I definitely found that one to be my least favorite of the last 5 episodes. I thought it was okay. It wasn't anything bad, but overall, I thought it was it wasn't my favorite.
Gotcha. Chad, do you want to go ahead and just give us your quick rating for episode 6, and then any last thoughts? Any thoughts on episode 5, real quick, before you take off?
Sure. Cyber, I agree with you on episode 5. It felt more like a fluff piece. Like it was just a lot of exposition, explaining, world building, and just not enough to captivate audiences. It was just kind of like a little too wordy for me.
Was it filler level? Was it that bad? Was it filler level?
It was not. Yeah, I was trying to say no, trying to be nice, but yeah, it was filler. It was very filler.
You have to be nice.
It was filler. It was a filler episode. It was very much a filler episode.
Okay, what's your rating for episode 6? And then I'll do mine, and we'll go to Cyber.
Episode 6, I give definitely a 9.5. 9.5.
Okay, I'm giving it a 10. Cyber?
I give it a solid 10 as well. This was a really well executed episode. It was really fun, really overall just really fun, action packed, lots of great action, great visuals, and really good storytelling in this episode. It was really fun. Really enjoyed it.
Lost the point because they killed my boy.
And they killed your boy. They killed your boy. No. They killed
the only reason they lost the point.
No. And they killed her boy, people. You got to get that across there, people. Just remember that. They killed Jasmine's boy. Okay. Jeez.
Jasmine likes those small, skinny, girly white guys.
He ain't girly. He's just slender.
Okay. All right. So that is it for this episode, folks. We want to thank anybody that has watched. We want to thank Jasmine for being in the comments. You rock as always, Jasmine. I want to thank everyone in our panel tonight, Jasmine and Jeff, of course, who contributed very well. You guys all did a great job. And I think this was, once again, just a really solid episode, really well done, really enjoyable, and just hands down the best episode, I think, of the series so far. All right. Jasmine, did you have anything you would like to plug before you leave?
That's an interesting plug, Jazz.
It froze.
Oh, okay. I thought you were plugging speaking robo.
No, it froze. I was like the button. Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to be doing a reaction on my YouTube channel, Jazzy Nerdy Girl Reacts. And I'm gonna be reacting to Willow, doing a movie reaction and a review, and hopefully be back with you guys for the next episode, for the first episode of Willow.
Excellent. Thank you. Most definitely. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, definitely check out Jasmine's YouTube channel. She just has redone it and is restarting up. So definitely check that out. She would appreciate that. And of course, like she said, this upcoming Friday, we'll be reviewing Willow episode 1. We do know 2 episodes have dropped, but we will be reviewing just the first episode. We'll get to the second episode next week for you guys. And this is going to be a very interesting, Disney Plus series to go over, to get back into the Willow universe. I've heard several different things about this series, and it should be interesting to see just where it goes. The original movie from 1988 was a fantastic film. Really well done and had a great cast. You know, it had Kevin Pollak in it. It had Val Kilmer, Warwick Davis, of course. Warwick Davis is returning. They will be talking about Mad Mardigan in the series, so we will be hearing references about Val Kilmer. Kevin Pollak is also returning as his character from the original film in this series as well. You saw him in the trailer. I'm not too sure about the other gentleman that was in the film. That played the other, it was like Browning or whatever they're called. And but yeah, this could be interesting. It's gonna be fun to review that on Friday and to just do that next Fridays on, along with Andor's on Wednesdays. And Jeff, what do you have going for Sunday, sir?
Sunday, we are going to go back to the drawing board, Marvel wise. We're gonna go Marvel on Sundays, folks. That's what we're gonna do. I don't know what we're gonna do on Wednesdays until when Andor ends. And obviously, Cyber and I have got to talk and figure out when we're gonna do the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special review. We got to do that soon too. Which we'll figure that out. You know, I have no question. Maybe that'll be a Sunday thing we'll do. I have no idea. We'll have to plan it out and see what Cyber schedule is like and the guest schedules are like. I don't do shit, so it doesn't really matter on my end. You know, besides, you know, just basically hanging out by myself in Dodge, watching gay porn, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, stuff like that, you know. But anyways, either way, bottom line, no, on Sunday, this Sunday, we're gonna going back to Comic-Con, the Marvel Studios panel, and we're gonna fully, for the first time, address the whole thing. Because we never really flushed it all out on the Bleeding Edge. We had too much shit going on, too many shows. Too many TV shows to cover, too many Disney Plus shit to do. That we didn't have enough time, there wasn't enough shows to cover some of the stuff. So we're going to go back, start from scratch, go through the whole thing, everything that came out, the Avengers films, Kang, do some theorizing on Kang and his whole impact on the MCU, get into Ant-Man Quantumania, play some trailers, you know, just basically talk some Marvel. Might take 2 episodes, 2 Sundays to knock it out. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But Sundays on the MCU's Bleeding Edge, for the foreseeable future, will be all Marvel, unless we decide to, you know, have like interview an OnlyFans woman or something, or guy or something like that on that day, or you know, something like that. You never know. Or we take on, you know, a different kind of TV series, like maybe we could review Jeopardy on Sundays or something like that, or Wheel of Fortune. What do you think, Cyber? That would be very entertaining.
Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, Match Game.
I think that's very unique. I've never seen anybody review Jeopardy before.
You know, maybe some you know, Match Game 76. You know, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Anyways, hey Jazz, we'll see you later, sweetheart. But no, we appreciate you, Jasmine. But no, basically, besides that. We've got a bunch of our, which we're going to end up pushing off into next year. We're going to be doing, since we don't have a Disney Plus, series coming out till March, right, Cyber? For Marvel.
Yeah, it's sometime this spring. We'll be getting.
Yeah, so at that point, yeah. So we're going to be still doing probably Phase 5, Phase 6, you know, theory shows and previews going into January and February and stuff like that, and whatnot. And I haven't talked to Cyber about this yet, but we've been going back and forth about wanting to do the X-Men animated series at some point and some DC animated movies and whatnot. And I've talked to a couple of other creators, so I'm not going to name right now because I can't fucking remember. I talk to so many different people sometimes. But basically they want to get in on it. So like, you know, like we might be doing another interlocked series like we've done with the Podcast of Champions once I discuss this with Cyber, where we might cover the whole X-Men animated series and go through it and maybe do like, you know, 2 episodes per review or something like that, you know? We'll have to see, but we got some good shit coming, bottom line. So we're going back to our roots. We're going to do some Marvel. And like Cyber and I have already displayed and shown, we're going to do DC shit too, especially with Gunn in there now. There's no way we can't talk about it. We got to get in there.
100%. So, all right. I want to thank everybody out there. You guys are great. And this is the MCU's Bleeding Edge, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out, folks. We love you, fandom. Well, all of you people from the fandom, Star Wars fandom, MCU fandom, nerd geek fandom. Sorry, Cyber. My mouse is frozen. Technical difficulties, folks. Technical difficulties. Oh, I forgot. I can just use this one here. There we go. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't it nice when you have an awkward silent moment during a live stream? It's the best, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, bitch, I'm a cow.